Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Patricia Walsh, and I'm here with Lauren Albandian and Rose Marcus, and they're colleagues of mine. We teach the School of Evolutionary Astrology, SoulWise, together. What we want to do today is just give you some insights into what is evolutionary astrology, why you might want to study evolutionary astrology with us, and what the benefit clients and students get from it. So let me start just briefly talking about what is evolutionary astrology. As we know, there's many different flavors of astrology. And evolutionary astrology is a specific paradigm that Jeffrey Wolf Green founded in the 80s with his seminal book, Pluto, The Evolutionary Journey of the Soul. And the main thrust of the work is to get to very core questions about what is my purpose? Why am I here? What are the kinds of complexes and issues that I might be bringing forward into this lifetime that don't make sense in this lifetime, but that still bother me? Now, I'm a regression therapist also, and I wrote a book on evolutionary astrology and regression therapy called Understanding Karmic Complexes. And I can say from my understanding, there's nothing that describes the journey of the soul through many, many lifetimes and describes the kinds of experiences the soul has, what it carries forward in terms of complexes, in terms of wounding, in terms of trauma, and how that affects somebody in their current life. But even better than that, evolutionary astrology also takes into account what you can do about it, because all of these things that we look at as stumbling blocks are fuel for our evolution. And the point of evolutionary astrology is to identify these things and empower somebody, either a student or a client, with this very deep understanding from the soul level. What might you add to that, Laura?
Well, I think that you brought up a point that is deeply important to me, and I hope deeply important to others. And that often in other forms of astrology, there seems to be a narrative that you are imprinted, you're kind of stuck with what you've got. In evolutionary astrology, that imprint certainly is there from a soul point of view. It gives us a deeper understanding, as you say, why we do what it is we do and how it is we stumble over the things that we may stumble over. But the chart from an evolutionary point of view clearly indicates what we're supposed to do with it, how the soul has the intention in each and every lifetime for its progress forward, right? So that was the point that I really wanted to drive home. What about you, Rose?
Yes, and the chart is, as I always say, but a sentence on the page, right? You have come from somewhere. Your soul has come from somewhere, and you are on your way to. So within the dynamics of the chart, we can look and see where the soul has come from, what the limitations are, and how we can best move that forward. And with evolutionary astrology, there is Jeffrey Wolf Green devised a specific methodology about getting into the chart. And we teach this in our course to help you to be able to get right down to the core and to unlock all of the information that your soul so desires to discover. It's waiting there for you.
Yeah, I think that one of the things I often say to students and clients is that it is not, the concept of nature versus nurture, right? So that, the old thought of, on one hand, we come in like a blank slate or a piece of clay to be molded by our environment and our parents. And evolutionary astrology gives a preceding story, in fact, a very deep preceding story to that, so that there is a nature or a dynamic that is already in play that is being brought forward through a certain set of social and familial circumstances.
And a lot of this is in our unconscious, which is what I mean, most of it is in our unconscious, unless you do, some diving into your subconscious through, regression or journeying or even plant medicine. The kind of content that comes out of the subconscious is very different than what is in the conscious mind and what we are aware of. So what I really love about evolutionary astrology is that it goes right to subconscious content. And when somebody can describe to you a subconscious content that lies behind the reasons why certain things have happened in your life, or why you have certain tendencies, or even why you have certain gifts, talents, right? Why you have certain challenges. And this is what evolutionary astrology does. It brings the subconscious content. Many times, I know Laura and Rose would say the same thing. What do our students and clients get from the study of evolutionary astrology or experiencing a consultation? And, many times people would say, from the first sentence, it was like it hit me so deep inside. And that's because this is the way our subconscious content is, and it lives within us. And in my language, I use the words soul, psyche, and subconscious as synonymous. Mm-hmm. And so when we're talking, illustrating, illuminating these things that are buried below the level of consciousness, it's like light bulbs go off for people.
And what a brilliant, brilliant self-study it is. That light bulb, it turns on and it doesn't go off again, right? It is something that stays with you. You will learn something about your chart, and that's going to give you a whole thread to follow. And the understanding that unfolds from there is absolutely such a rich tapestry. It's amazing. What happens with the evolutionary astrology, which I think we've all had the experience of, is that in the subconscious that Pat was just talking about, you will find, if you are watching this video right now, if you have done any exploration, if you have stumbled upon some of evolutionary astrology, your soul is already primed to take on this self-study, this investigation. It is like your soul is yearning for this information, know it or not. And I have, heard students and clients say all along, I've found what I was looking for, right? It's an amazing study. It keeps on delivering.
It does keep on delivering. And one of the other things I would say, what do students get from studying evolutionary astrology, is that you are connecting with other humans that are delving deeply into the psyche, into the soul, and building community with people who are using common language, who are delving deeply, and in class space can hold space for others to explore their own process, as we use students' charts often in class. So it becomes an intimate process at times, and students create a deep bond with one another, even as it transcends virtual space. I have seen this time and time again. And even in the course of the history of my teaching, I have seen lifelong friendships created from students who have taken classes together.
That is some of the absolute magic of undertaking this study and undertaking the study with a group of other like-minded souls.
For sure, for sure. And so we have a wealth of history and knowledge and education. We are all directly taught by Jeffrey Wolf Green. And so this is not a transmission through another teacher to us. We have had the direct teachings from Jeffrey, and we have combined multiple decades of experience. I, for myself, started studying with Jeffrey in 1983, 84, and have been working with evolutionary astrology for almost 40 years. What about you, Rose? What do you remember about studying with Jeffrey, and why should people study with us?
Well, I met Jeffrey in the early 90s, and I facilitated his one of his first schools that he taught the entire program. I did a lot of workshops with him. He's been my mentor, my friend, supported me throughout. In my early studies with astrology, I examined, I investigated a lot of different modalities. And once I found evolutionary astrology, that was it. No looking back. That was the answer to everything. The study that was so rich, so encompassing, so complete, that I've dedicated my life to using it, to teaching it, and so on. Pat?
Well, I just hear all the time from students and clients the value of evolutionary astrology. And I know that, what students get out of it is not just that, not just that exploration, but also a new career, right? So people can take what they've learned just like we have. And here's the other thing about studying with the three of us. First, you get three of us. You get, again, combined multiple decades of experience, but each of us has 20, 30, 40 years of experience in using evolutionary astrology with clients. And not only in consulting astrology, but also we each are all teachers of astrology and in different realms. We're all writers. We're all conference and workshop organizers. We are all public speakers. And and we've all been doing that for, again, 20 some odd years plus. And that also gives you a depth of, or a well to draw from, especially from three of us. And when we teach together, just like we're speaking to you today, this is the way we teach, although we use PowerPoints and all kinds of fancy handouts. But when we teach, we each give our own different experience and perspective of, if we're talking about an archetype. And each of us, we all come from the same paradigm, but based on our own lived experience and our own perspective, we'll have something to add to that. And students all of the time say that is incredibly valuable. They love learning from the three of us, and we love teaching together. And I think that's part of what makes the magic, and serves the process of learning evolutionary astrology.
And I think it's magic. I think it's magic the way the three of us come together. And we have, again, I want to support that we have the common paradigm, but we have individual lived experiences that inform how we approach types or individual elements of evolutionary astrology. And Rose, please, I'm sorry, I jumped in.
Yes, and you may come into this study with the intent of becoming professional, but it's not necessary. Should you choose to study for yourself, it will enrich in your understanding of who you are, what makes you tick, what your soul is desiring for you. And so you can't go wrong with the study. And what you will develop is a community, and so on.
Recently, further on that, Rose, recently I was speaking to one of the students, and she said, evolutionary astrology saved my life. She went through very difficult circumstances with her family, and none of it ever made sense to her in her life. Why is that going on? And she said, from the study of evolutionary astrology and the way that she could see the reasons why, the understanding of, the repetition of particular karmas, the understanding of why this family, why these experiences, she said it saved her life. And this is also the kind of thing that you can get from studying, with studying evolutionary astrology, if you choose to practice or not. So I'd like to ask you to go and look further into the website. We have new classes coming up all the time. We have, if you look at the training, you'll see the curriculum, you'll see the schedule, and we hope you'll join us on your journey because we would love to be your guides.